Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. Look, there is something that annoys me extremely hard, a lot. When I read or when I see people writing, saying that we don't deserve to go in Champions League. Beppe, this Juventus doesn't deserve to go in Champions League. The way that we play, we don't deserve to go in Champions League. With this team, with these players, with these kids, men, we don't deserve to go in Champions League. According to me, that's an extremely ridiculous statement because there are rules. You like them or you don't like them, the rules are written. And it's the same in every country. At the end of the season, if you have 38 games or you have 34 or that you have 20 games, whatever, at the end of the season, the team with the most points lifts the trophy in the air. They are champion of their country. Then depending on the country, in Italy, you have 4 spots. The second one with the most points are second. And the fourth one, for example, with the most points, they go in Champions League. If you are fifth, you don't go in Champions League. You go in Europa League. That's the rule in Italy. The 3 teams with the lowest point, they go in second division. That's the rule, guys. You like it or you don't like it. Sometimes there are exceptions in the world. For example, Euro 1992. Denmark, on paper, doesn't deserve to play that tournament. But at the end they go, because Yugoslavia, unfortunately, because of war, I will not go in detail, they cannot participate, and they select Denmark, because the system, the rules were written that there was a way to select the other team. That rule was not because they were beautiful, they were tall, they had blue eyes, blonde hair, or because they were playing the most spectacular football. No. It was a rule that was written up front, and Denmark has been selected. They go there, they win the tournament. Why am I telling you all that story? That sometimes you don't deserve of going to a tournament because the way that you are playing. But the rules are written that you go because you made the most points. And from one season to another, sometimes things can change. You have a new coach, you have new players, you have a new way of playing, you have a click, a mental click that is motivating you to do better. Sometimes crazy things are happening in football that makes that at the end, the season before, probably on the field, you didn't deserve, but on paper, you qualified, and then you deserve the season after. Crazy story. Of course, if Juventus this season doesn't do enough points and we don't go in the top 4, it's because of ourselves. At the end of the season, the one that if Juventus have not enough points to qualify, we don't go. And we will be here saying we didn't deserve to go in Champions League because the name is not enough. But at one condition, that it's fair, that it's the field that is deciding at the end who has the most point to qualify. That's super important. Look, if today we are in the edge, on the edge of not qualifying to Champions League, let's be honest between you and me, I know that you already know, it's because of ourselves. The first one that we would need to blame is ourselves. The management, the sporting management. For the one, no sponsor. The other one, the Mercato, that was a total flop. Technical staff, Thiago Motta has been sacked, ragazzi. Medical staff, we have half a team that is in the J Medical. If you're accumulating how many absence we had this year because of injury, it's a total disaster. It's worse every single year. So at a certain moment, it's because of ourselves. It's because of the players. Of course, it's because of the players as well. It's because of everyone at Juventus. Everyone has their own share responsibility that today, with 2 games to go, we are not qualifying to Champions League at the moment, at today, even if today we are still 4th in that ranking waiting for the result of Roma. But at today, the destiny is not anymore in our hands. We are obliged to wait for Atalanta-Roma, obliged to support for Atalanta to win that game. Because otherwise, big problems. And of course, it's in our hands to be obliged to beat Udinese, that at the moment is doing 1-1 against Monza. We are obliged to win against Venezia in the last game, Matchday 38. But if we are in that moment, it's because of ourselves, and we all know it. But yesterday, and that's where I go towards the Lazio 1, Juve 1 of yesterday, but yesterday, despite a really poor Juventus, and we all see it, with half the team injured, the other half of the team that is probably not worth wearing the shirt, because we are not at the level. They are not at the level, with 10 men from the 60th minute, away from home, against Lazio that never lost there since 5 games at home in Serie A. We were winning until the 96th minute. We were winning. We were doing the job, the necessary job. We said it at the end of the season. We don't care anymore the way, the fashion, how we are qualifying. We need to make points. And we were doing. Mission was accomplished yesterday with all the difficulties in the world. Let's say that the qualifying to Champions League or not qualifying to Champions League, whatever, if you are 4th, if you are 5th, whatever, even if we are ninth, it will not change that a lot are to blame, that we have a lot of mess to clean up on all the levels that I just said. That's because of us. We need to look at ourselves and we need to clean it. Do we change a sporting director? Do we add some person to help him? Do we want other players? Do we sack some players? Do we change the coach? Do we not change the coach? Anyway, we have so many things to do. Really, really, really a lot of things. But there is one thing that I would ask, especially after watching again the game of yesterday, is I would love that one of the priorities is to work on equal treatment on and off the field. That should be one of the priorities, because if we don't fix that, my friends, what are we speaking about? What are we speaking about? I'm ranting since 6 minutes now without even mentioning what happened in the game of yesterday. Because if a qualification in Champions League needs to be decided with a game as it was yesterday refereed by Massa, it's a total disaster. There is no complotism, there is no this, there is no that, but the game of yesterday was a really disgrace to football. You want to start, but if you go back to the watch along, you will see it from the first minutes. From the first minute I said there is something that is not correct here, because there is a big fall in the first minutes, not given a yellow card. There is a second big fall from Lazio to Juve, not yellow card. And I said it, the first fall from Juve will be whistled with a yellow card. And this is what happened against Thuram. Thuram that was at risk of suspension for the next game. A few minutes later, Savona, also him at risk of the suspension. Both of the players, yellow card immediately. You know, a stupid stat like that is explaining us a bit the game of yesterday. 14 falls from Lazio. 10 fouls from Juve, okay? More from Lazio, less from Juve. 14 against 10. You know that from these 10 fouls that Juventus committed yesterday, 5 were giving a card. 4 yellows, 1 red card. From Lazio, they received 5 yellow cards yesterday. All after the 70th minute, and all of them for arguing, for arguments with the referee, so for protesting. 0 of these 14 fouls, 0 from these 14 fouls were booked. So you have one team, 50% of the fouls that they were making, card. The other one, 14, 0 were booked. Equal treatment, I'm asking myself. I'm really asking myself where they are. Immediately I understood that something was totally wrong yesterday. Also, equal treatment. You see a Conceição at the end of the game that is running towards the goal. He's running there towards the goal. He's touching the defender with the 2 arms. Referee is whistling. Ball Lazio. They continue. On the other side, at the 96th minute, and I'm still asking myself how on earth he invented 7 minutes additional time. There is a big push from Zaccagni on the back of Federico Gatti. They don't care. You know what? They went to check the offside, because the offside is something black or white. You cannot discuss. They were obliged to go and check it. They checked the offside, they don't check that fall. While a few minutes before, they cancelled it to Conceição. Equal treatment. I know I don't understand. Yesterday I went totally crazy. How on earth they are not watching that one? How on earth is this not a foul? Yesterday, it's not the only thing that I understood that something was not okay, that it would have been extremely difficult. You remember that retro back pass from Savona? No, actually, no. He's giving the pass to Lazio because he wants, I don't know what he's doing. What a disaster mistake there. That ball goes to Lazio. Lazio touch it. That's an assist. They are offside. The referee is not thinking twice. Immediately, he couldn't wait at the 87th minute to go and to show the penalty spot. Immediately, he was there. That's the thing. Like yesterday, also, Kalulu. I watched again. From the first team, from the live, you don't really understand. From the protest of Kalulu, you don't really understand. There is one image where you see that indeed he's giving that slap. But it's an image in really low quality taken from Planet Mars. That's where they are. That's where they were. That camera from Planet Mars is going and showing 3 times the same image. We don't know yet. Did he touch it in the face? Did he not touch it in the face? But you will probably discover these images during the day or maybe tomorrow, and we will be able to say yes or no, but that's not the problem. Probably deserve to receive that red card, and what a stupidity. And what a stupidity 2 weeks after Ken Aniles against Monza. What a stupidity at the 60th minute when you are winning 1-0. What a stupidity, because for these kind of things you are throwing away. You are maybe throwing away a season, a qualification to Champions League. Probably that award of best of the season. There were not a lot, but a few of them, you are giving it away. Because of a stupid mistake like that. You don't do it. With the experience of Kalulu, you don't do it. You are in Serie A since really long time. You know how it works. You cannot do it. These are the things that indeed, if he did it, it's undefendable. But I'm still here today, 24 hours nearly later, to tell you if he did it, or if there was a violent conduct, or this or that. Because yesterday the problem is that the referee is going, he sees 3 images, and he decides immediately after seeing 3 times, bad quality images, one angle, so not even 2-3 images, to change the destiny of who can go to that Champions League run. Lazio, Bologna, Roma, Juve. That's where he decides to go for it. Extremely fast, really super fast decision. While when it happens to you, there is nothing. You will tell me, Beppe, you cry. No, it's not about crying, guys. If we are saying that Juventus is at fault for Kalulu, it's right, it's correct. They deserve to play with 10 men, but that's not the problem. It's the whole management of the game. It's a game like that because of ourselves, because we put ourselves in that situation today, not already being in Champions League, that today we are obliged to be there because of ourselves. But if you are managing that game, if you are going with a referee like that in the game of yesterday, that is changing the destiny of the future of Juve for the next 2-3 years, it annoys me, because then we cannot speak about football anymore. Look at the momentum of the game. That first half was really bad, was not a beautiful one, with Juventus with all the fault in the world. They couldn't do 3 passes in a row. Nico Gonzalez, that was really disgusting to see. Really bad. Nico Gonzalez yesterday, and a few other players that were absolutely not at the level. But if you're looking at the momentum, go on SofaScore, if you are watching again the first half, you see that anyway, Lazio was absolutely not better. They were actually weaker than Juve. If you should have given, which doesn't exist in football, that half a point more, it was for Juve in that first half, even if we didn't play well. The second half, until the red card, it's Juventus that is dominating. It's Juventus that is trying. Juventus actually entered quite well in the second half, strangely enough, and for the first time scoring that first goal in the second half, because it never happened before with Tudor. So even there, with half a team, with a team that is not at the level, with a team that was not playing well, we were doing the job. A game that has been changed for an extremely fast decision. Maybe if the first players there, Guendouzi, etc., Maruzic, Gila, they were booked, maybe they would have received a yellow card, a red card, and maybe it would have changed in a total different way instead of our players. You see that equality that I'm telling you, that probably that game has been really influenced by a really bad referee, and that's why I'm telling you, if we don't deserve to go in Champions League because we don't have enough points, I want to be able at the end of the season to tell you straight in your eyes, it's only because of ourselves, not 95% because of ourselves. It's only at 100% because of ourselves. And then we can make straight arguments and we can say this doesn't deserve, this one needs to go, this one cannot stay at Juve. But if you're looking at the team of yesterday, guys, let's put aside the game, how it was managed yesterday. If you're looking at that lineup in the beginning, you see that you are not blind, like I am not blind. This team, impossible that any of the Juventini 5 years ago, 10 years ago would have said, wow, that's the Juve that I want to see. That's the Juve that is playing the most important game of the season. We all know it. Andy Gregorio, Kalulu, Vega, Savona on the left, not even in spot. A ex-next gen player. Alberto Costa, first start. Yesterday actually did well. Probably, except of Di Gregorio, probably the best one of the game. Because that save of Di Gregorio is a fantastic one. I said it yesterday. He saved us. If we win, because you remember I always told you, if we win, this is the save of the season. Alberto Costa, first game as a starter. Locatelli, Thuram, both of them booked at a certain moment. Weah, that is absolutely not in condition to play. We can even argue, is he at the level to be a starter of Juve or a bench player of Juve? Nico Gonzalez, I already said, the disaster yesterday. And if the first game, he was quite good with Tudor, and meanwhile we played 7 games. And in 7 games, probably he played 3 really bad, like the first half of yesterday, really bad. Weston McKennie, is he the link? Is he the one? Look at the first 5 passes of Weston McKennie, he was missing all of them. Yesterday, really a bad, low-level Juve, and we know it, and this has nothing to see with the referee, with not the referee, but even with these men, we were winning that game. That's the crazy thing. The changes of Tudor, I said it immediately, and there is always a logic. When a coach is doing things, there is always a logic. His logic. Then you can agree, then you can disagree. The first logic, because I put myself not in Beppe's mind, but in the coach mind, I'm saying, okay, He knows that the crosses will arrive from left, from right, from the middle. They will go with high balls, which actually happened in the last 10 minutes of the game. He needs experience, he needs centimeters. Federico Gatti, and instead of Chico Conceição, is a perfect change. You could say, you can argue that the player like Dusan Vlahovic with the experience changing instead of Adzic is a good sub, is a good change because he's an experienced striker forward that knows what to do with the ball, taking the ball, waiting, experience that the other ones are going away, that he goes. But the problem is that probably, and that's where I give probably the only bad note to Tuzor, not Gatti Conceição, but Vlahovic Adzic, because probably he doesn't know yet enough Dusan Vlahovic. He doesn't know yet enough the players that he has at disposal at 100%. Because if you put Dusan Vlahovic to gain centimeters, to be strong with a header, then I'm asking myself, is Dusan Vlahovic the one that will win your duels there up front? I don't think so. In the middle of the field or coming back, is he the one that will control that ball and keep that ball in possession? I don't think so. And that's what you see, because the goal is partially because of him that we receive it. Because at a certain moment, indeed, there are three players around him, but are quite far. He's taking that ball instead of putting it at the third level, which he should have done yesterday, or managing or doing something. He's giving it back easy, tranquilo, without pressure. The way that he enters yesterday is absolutely not good. It's not the player that wants to fight until the end to qualify Juventus in Champions League, even if he will probably not be there next season, because that goal is coming from a lack of understanding, awareness of that moment. And then, of course, we are punished, because if the referee is giving you 7 minutes instead of 5, if he's not looking for the foul, but if you are the one that is provoking it, that's a problem. Like yesterday, luckily there was an offside on that penalty, because Savona, there on the left, when he's doing a mistake like that at the 87th minute, and Di Gregorio, that is creating there a penalty, luckily it was giving away. Luckily, at the end we did 1-1 anyway. But these are things that it's our own fault. So it's not, I'm not saying it's the referee, it's not the referee. First of all, it's our fault. But then, if you have on top of that the impossibility to win the game because they don't want, we have a problem. Congratulations again to Alberto Costa, first star. Really, really beautiful way of playing. I was really happy with him. Is he a perfect player? Is he the player? And that's the big question. Is he the player that I want next season to be the starter of Juve? No. Let's be honest. We need to change a lot of things. Now we have a big problem for the next games. The next game we are playing against Udinese. I will be normally at the stadium. I took my flight tickets yesterday. I need to fix a few things there. But we are playing without Cabal, Kelly, Bremer, Kalulu, Savona. Question mark about Gatti. Will he be ready to play 90-95 minutes? Question mark. Cambiaso will not be there. Thuram will not be there. Milik is not there. What about Koopmeiners? Is he ready? Will he be ready? Will he be there on the bench? Question mark. Not sure that he will start after 3-4 weeks of absence again. So we have like 10 players that are not there. We have a huge, big problem, guys. I have no idea. But it will be a big puzzle to find the team able to win a game against Udinese. And now there is no maybe a draw, we can do some. You're obliged to win. Anyway, that was me, my rant. Again, no edits because I don't want to. I didn't even want to record a video because I'm still pissed off. I still didn't digest, and I'm not sure if I will be able to digest it. Even qualifying to Champions League will not make me digest the 1-1 of yesterday because it was disgusting. Anyway, grazie, forza, Juve. Ciao.